Hi everyone, it's just past midnight and here I am making you a video. Alright, we start Excel tomorrow, so I'm not going to do the whole lesson because obviously that will take very long, but I'm going to show you a couple of things that is coming up in the lesson that I think you might want to know. The first thing that I want to show you about Excel is that it basically works exactly the same way as Word, as PowerPoint. We've done both of those things now. You will see very familiar things at the top, at the bottom. I just want to talk about a few things in Excel that you may not know. So for those of you who have never worked in Excel, don't be scared. Each of these little blocks we call a cell. Each cell has an address. For example, this is A1. The address is the column and the row. Okay, so it's G6 and J9 and 10, and so you go on and on. So whenever they refer to a certain cell, J8 or 9, you just look for it by going to the column and then going to the row. Okay, so it starts by saying enter your title. Okay, let me just mention something about that. So I'm going to click on cell A1, that's where we start, and then I'm going to type the title, personal budget worksheet. Okay, now you may think that your title is in cell A, cell B and cell C, but when you press enter and you click back in A1, you will notice that you only entered in A1. Okay, so B is empty, C is empty. How do you know that? Because when you click in B and C, you will see that this formula bar is totally empty. But when I click in A, you will see my title. So just remember, when something goes over the line of a column, it doesn't mean it's going into the next cell. It just means that, okay, let me show you, you can enlarge your cell and it will fit. But we don't do that yet because we're going to follow the instructions and it will come up eventually. All right. Then there's a subtitle that you will enter in A2, monthly estimates. Okay, also looks like it's in A and B, but it's only in A. And then you can start row 3A3. You'll start by saying income. And this is where I'm going to start explaining a couple of things. Now, we're going to create a list for the months. For example, I'm going to start with January. All right. Now, January is part of a list. Obviously, you know, February is next, then March, then April, May, June, July. Another thing that can be a list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to whenever. Another list is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Another list can be seasons, even spring, summer, autumn, winter. All of that, the order is set. That's how it is. You can also create a list if you have specific increments, for example, 2, 4, 6, 8, 3, 6, 9. If it is the same increment every time, you can also create a list. So there is absolutely no need for you to type January up to December because you just need to drag. So what you do is you click in the word January and now I drag. Oh, and then you see February, March, April, May, and all the way. So you go all the way to December. So it saves you so much time, and it's better to do it that way because you don't have to be afraid of making a spelling mistake, because I'm sure Excel is not going to make a spelling mistake. Okay, so here you have your different incomes that you will now list underneath that. The first one, wages. The second one, dividends. And then total. Obviously not a lot of. Now I should just mention this is for a student. So this budget worksheet is for a student, an American student to be exact. So that's why you will see some. We are going to do it in rand, but in your original, in the textbook or on your slides, you will see it's in dollars. All right, so the next thing you'll do is you'll enter your values. Okay, so let me just mention something about entering values. How do you enter values? Oh, very easy. For example, the first one is 1029. Don't make spaces. Don't put the rand symbol. Just enter it as it is. For example, 1000.29. Okay, enter. Okay, when you see a number on the right of a cell, it's correct and it is a number. If something displays on the left side of a cell, it is a word. Now, as you can see, income, wages, dividend, total, all these things are on the left. It starts with an alphabetical character. It shows that it is a item, a list item. Okay. So if you enter a value and it goes to the right side of the cell, then you know it is a number. Okay. Now, if you look at wages, now for this specific exercise, the wages remain the same for the whole year. Okay. You are not typing that whole thing out. You are just dragging it all across until you get to December. Once again, it eliminates errors, it saves you time, and why would you want to type it 12 times if you can just drag it? Okay, now when you get to dividends, it's a different story. Okay, because you only get dividends in January and September. Okay, so this guy's dividends is 4,000.75. Okay, once again, you will notice here mine displays as a comma, but depending on your laptop, you might actually see a point there instead of a comma. It's not a problem. Okay, on my laptop, my software will show a space for 1,000 separated. Some of you may have older laptops or older programs, and they may actually display commas. Doesn't matter. All right. Then here we have no income until September. So I'm just going to type a 0. Okay. And then I'm going to drag it all the way to August. And in September, he earns another bit of dividends again. All right, and then the zeros will continue. I'm just going to enter the 3 zeros. Okay, so this is the income that the student receives. Okay, now at the end of this, we're just going to enter in N3, we're going to enter total because we're going to add it up in the column and in the rows. For example, the total you will get here is going to be your total wages. Can you see wages over here? So it's going to say this plus this plus this plus blah, 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 all the way until you get here. Same for this one. And the total that you have here will be the January total. Here you will have the February total, the March total. So in this block, you will have a total of totals, if you want to call it that. So you will have all the totals added together. All right, so let's do that now. So how are you going to do that? It is actually not difficult, but some people are really struggling with the formulas. So how do I enter a formula in Excel? Okay, I'm going to start with this formula in cell B6. So the first thing you do is you click where you want your answer to be. I want my answer to be in B6, right? So I start with an equal sign. You always start with an equal sign. Then what is it I want to add? I want to add B4 plus B5. Now I'm just going to quickly show you. It can actually work like this. All right, it's going to give you the right answer if you say B4 plus B5. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Okay, because there's only two, I guess you can do it like that. Okay, that's the one way. The other way is to say equal sign sum. Sum, as you know from school, means summation or calculate the total of a couple of numbers. So that is what we want to do. So I'm just going to double click on the word sum, and then I drag through two blocks that I want to add together. So I want to add B4 and B5. What does this colon mean? It means up to. So if you had a million blocks in between, it would still only say that, because it will take the first one and the last one. So it would be B4 and whatever the last one is. If it was a million, it would be B million. And this colon would cover everything in between. Okay, so that is the second way you can do it. So you can just enter. It will give you the exact same answer than you got if you just said B4 plus B5. But remember, that is not the ideal way to calculate. Okay, so the last one, okay, I'm just going to delete my answer. The last one is if you use AutoSum over here. On the right of your screen, you will see there's also auto average, auto max, auto min, and all those things. So if you click on auto sum, it will actually just instantly insert the formula that I just showed you, and you don't have to enter it yourself, and it will calculate the answer automatically. Okay, so that is how you can add together or into your formulas here. Once again, you are going to use the exact same method to calculate the whole table. So in this case, it's going to be B4 plus B5. Now it's going to be C4 plus C5, D4 plus D5. So the formula stays the same. The only thing that changes is the cell value. Okay, since it's the same, I can actually copy my formula. That is what I'm doing now. I'm just going to drag it all across until I get to December. Not total, obviously, because there is nothing in total yet. So if you look here in each of your answers, you will see that Excel knows what it is you're trying to do. You are trying to copy on the formula, but changing the values of the cell. So it did that for you. So here you have C4, C5, D4, D5, E4, E5 until you get to M4, M5. So that is why it's such a wonderful thing. I don't think anybody uses a calculator anymore because you really don't have to. Okay, so that is how you will calculate down. How about calculating horizontally? Okay, remember the first one method I showed you? I'll show you. It actually works. You can actually say equal sign, all right, and then you say this plus this plus this. Okay, I'm just going to do this to amuse you. It's not the best way to go. Okay, so that is one way of doing it, not recommended. Okay, second way is if you say equal sign sum, choose SUM from your function list, and then you're selecting all the values in the row that you want to add together. Close your bracket. You don't even have to close the bracket. It will automatically calculate it anyway, but I am closing it because I feel I have to. A bit of a OCD thing. Enter, and I get my answer. And then, of course, you can also use AutoSum here. You can just click on AutoSum, and it will calculate it automatically. Very easy. Same story. The formula stays the same, so I can copy it down. And this answer that I get here will be the total of totals. All right, now that is the first part of your exercise. The second part of your exercise is actually creating a second table that works with expenses. And it works exactly the same way as the income. First, you're going to say expenses, then you're going to do the months again, copy all them all the to the end, and then you enter all your different expenses and the amounts, and then you just add them together, and that is it. Alright, I'm going to stop this video here before it gets too long. That's klar.